one more question.
Like your most memorable memory that you can think of doing 4-H and how your experience was like throughout the entire thing.
Okay, so the last question was kind of vague, but my overall experience with 4-H. Oh man, honestly, overall, I absolutely loved it. My sister probably thinks otherwise, but she was more wrapped up with the livestock stuff and dealing with that, which that is one thing. If you start getting into livestock in certain projects, some projects are very laxy daisy on what you have to do, but livestock in particular is a lot of work, um, especially nowadays, compared to when my uncles and aunt and dad was in it. It's definitely a lot more political in the sense of like how much work it takes and the amount of work people do and the amount of money sadly people spend. It's definitely a money game on who's going to do best sadly in a lot of places, but we never did that too much, but it was still a lot of work daily throughout the summer. um, but overall I loved it. I definitely at one point, I think by the end of it, some of the livestock stuff I kind of got tired of, but like I said, I had the most enjoyment out of doing the group activities and the fair itself and just hanging out with friends and the connections I made, um, which we'll kind of get into. So I guess at this point, I'm just going to kind of get into some of my 4-H stories and some of the stuff I did and stuff like that. But I have quite a few. I guess speaking of events and stuff that I've done with 4-H, the main one I did for 4 years was Academy, which is where me and Noah, I guess, more officially met, and that's when we snuck out. I did that all 4 years I possibly could, which was throughout high school, and every year was a little different. I did so 4-H Academy is basically like a 4-H. It's kind of like a camp held at Purdue campus for 3 days, and you get to choose a certain topic. I chose environmental sciences twice. I did renewable resources, and I did. Ooh, I cannot remember the last one. Sadly, there was another one. Oh, show me the money is what it was called. Is finance. So basically, you have 3 days with that topic, and then you're in a group with people that are also in that subject. And then you basically work with professors and whatever else, and they basically plan out your 3 days doing activities and learning different stuff, or going here and there and seeing stuff live and be hands on. It's amazing. Um, my first year, I believe I did the renewable resources, so I'm trying to think some of the activities I did involved with that. We went to the wind farm up there north of Lafayette. um, we went to a place that Purdue owns where they are at the time we're trying to create a replacement for crude oil, um, using grass, natural wild grass, which was interesting. And then we also went up to Fair Oaks Farms to see their methane facility, how they take their cattle manure and turn it into methane gas to power their fleet of trucks. So that was interesting, and that smelled. But so that was my renewable resource experience. I'm trying to think which other ones I did. So I did Show Me the Money. So I'm trying to think. So we got split up into families, and then we did a GeoGuessr. Not GeoGuessr. I can't remember what this was off the top of my head, but basically where you could go find these little pendants hidden. There was an app for it. I cannot remember the name. So we had to do that, and we were split into families. So it was like me and three other girls in my group, and we had to go get as many as we could, get these little caches to get money, and then as a family, like the next activity we did, we went to Meyer. We had to make a budget and try to spend the least amount of money as possible for the most amount of food for the week for our family. So we had to go through, and my family won that activity because we planned out our meals and we did this and that, and we got everything, and we spent the least amount of money, which was kind of crazy, considering it was a week worth of food supposedly. I honestly don't know if it would last in my house, but hey. And then we also went to a house viewing almost to learn about house finances and stuff like that. And then my last 2 years, I did environmental sciences or natural resources. Ooh, basically the same. It's not the same thing. I think it was natural resources. My bad. So we went to a nature facility that Purdue owns, which was like 700 acres of woods. And so we went out there. We caught and studied wildlife in the creek. We measured tree stuff on how they measure for logging and the amount of wood, usable wood in the area to get estimates. And we did a bunch of stuff like that. I went out there twice, so a lot of hiking, but it was a great time. Um, so I guess that's 4-H Academy. That's probably my favorite event that I was involved in.